the scenario have been totally different. We all physical educations have been demanding that physical education program, or synonymously whether you take it as a sports, that it's such a unique ultimate media. It provides such a medium through which we say a holistic development of child can be ensured. It is the development of the fitness, health. It is obvious. It is obviously apparent. When you go for the exercise and all, we will always say that it's a direct benefit is the health. Now, beyond that, a holistic development also, we say that it provides that unique social situation, unique platform where decision has to be taken, and the way it makes one to force take decision in the competitive game situation or the play situations, that it ensures character development, leadership development, social qualities, then moral development, intellect development. Because we say that our whole body system is not a single entity. It is not like mental entity, it's a different, and the physical entity is different. It's a unit, a psychophysio entity. When movement takes place or exercise we perform, it doesn't happen in the absentia only on physical. It is being actively controlled through our nervous system, efferent nerve and afferent nerve. We call sensory nerve and motor nerve, directly controlled by our central nervous system. So that's why this very part was missing till that, where we can say that physical education program, when only in the central school system, CBSE pattern school, it was optionally, it was there up to class 10, and 11, 12, it was a compulsory part, or who can opt as a elective subject. So till 10, this was not compulsory. It was left to the principal. It was left to the concerned physical education teacher in the school. And this is only in the central schools, Navodaya central school, or those private institute who follow CBSE pattern of school. But state system were more neglected. It was not there at all. And physical education teacher who used to be there to look after this chapter has a no organized syllabus to follow, no organized duty hours to prescribe so that he can conduct his classes or evaluate periodically. There was nothing. His primary duty was to that prepare the school team, sports team. If that school has an interest to participate in some inter-school tournament, then only that his role is to come into play. Or otherwise, what he was a teacher for an engagement. Whenever some free classes were there, that physical education teacher is to get engaged to that some kind of recreation game or in some play, or then only that engagement comes, sports comes to him. Or otherwise, it is only the team preparation of the schools, and that too not in all schools. So, and other than that, it is the annual day function, where mass display also will be there, all classes will be involved, and that will be there at the most 3 days or 1 week program, the school days programs, then or college week program in the colleges, university week program in there. So only from that point of view, it was there. It's sort of very narrow and limited, that we have never realized that how strong physical education sports curricula can be, how big role it can play in the development of a child. Those things were never practically realized. So this was the status, that physical education was there in central schools in some system of our academic governance as a, for the, you can say, some for just a namesake. So that was not there the way that physical education fraternity visioned that how it should be implemented. We always used to justify that ultimately that academic subjects are academic oriented. His moral part, his social part, his leadership part, his health part is never being taken care during the schooling life. So only physical education and sports program could have tackled this issue. So that was not done. So we hope with the 2020 academic policy being launched, and in principle, for a holistic development, sports and other activities are there, very much part of it. Some are there as a co-curricula, but sports as a part of the main curricula. So it gives us a very big hope. Now, I just want to go further that why we need to put in compulsory physical education program. Because we need to find a real justification that why it should be in the part of the our program. If we go see in our human development as a Homo sapiens species, the way we have been evolved through our evolutionary history, if we go, that our ancestor or we, our human entity as a Homo sapiens have been always what? A mobile one. They are empowered with locomotive power. So our ancestors were always active, empowered with the fundamental skills like the running, jumping, walking, throwing, and in the course of time to make more complex movements, we are empowered with that. Our ancestors' lifestyle, if we go to the primitive style till some 1,000 years back, we will see that there were hunters, there were food gatherers, there are Bedouins and constantly moving tribes from one place to another. Then later they become agriculturists. Then, but one thing was obvious, that physical struggle was obviously very much part of their life. So in the evolutionary part of our human beings' life, a period, a very substantially very long period where we are very active. So our evolutionarily, our organs have dependent, manifested or developed basis on that. That's why the principles of like what we say, law of use and disuse, or function determines organ structure, or structure determines the functions of the organ. That kind of principles have been evolved. When we say that the more you law of use and disuse, the more you use part of the body, it gets more refined and more sophisticated in functioning. Or if you don't use that one, it becomes appendages in the body. In evolutionary history, we see that how reptiles have started evolved to the bird and flying, and there are some appendages still in the animals which are being not used, so it become appendages. Same way that our system within our body, like all the system, cardiorespiratory system, circulatory system, digestive system, our skeletal system, muscular system, all the systems, because of that activeness from our evolutionary history, it has evolved in the active lifestyle. Being physically a struggle continuously, it evolved on that. So that's why it is natural that we need to be active for our health purposes, for our better functioning of our whole organic system, and for longevity and all. Now, like function determines structures. That also, that if a function is being non-performed continuous, then it functionality decreases, it becomes inefficient. So it that goes. So disease and all other things accumulates and all that. Similarly, if you do more functioning, it gets more refined in life. So these two laws are based on that evolutionary theories only. Then ultimately, that's because of this evolutionary also, that we are by nature also engaged to play. If we see from our childhood, or if you see the animals at the early ages and all, they are always naturally involved with the play and all. What psychologically, what forces us, what drives us to get engaged with the play? We need to, from the understand point of view, that it is inherent in us that we are bound to, and we are naturally inclined to get engaged in the play activities. And if you see that there are famous play theories, I'll just give highlights of that. Not going to very detail to all this then, because the topic, I'll be sidelining that topic, but just to make more relevant that why play theory comes into our life and we find very relevant, is that there is a surplus energy theory which suggests that play is resultant of surplus energy within the children, that it has to find some way for engagement, it has to be spent. And we always find the children are abundant. Given a chance and opportunity throughout the day, they will keep on playing. Even if they are tired, they replenish back immediately and that energy comes out. We never see that if one day children has played and tired, came back home like that and slept, the next morning he will find again he is that way energetic and all. This is what surplus energy theory suggests, that it is by evolutionary, it is in us. Then relaxation theory, it is called fatigue removal and energy replenishing. according to this theory. I just summarize this, means I am not going to very detail. Then growth theory is that as a response to our growth requirement, and what play is a drive for growth. That's why it pushes on that drive, so the growth taking place, and it facilitates what mastery of skill necessary for function of adult behavior. The way in the future adult requirements are there, this is being developed to evolve, and through the experience and practices through the play. Now there is again catharsis theory. This, according to this theory, the play represents what? A child's attempt to understand conflict. He wants to experience, he wants to solve his problems and issues he faces, and ultimately he finds engagement in the play. Through that experience, engagement and experience, what it evolves. Catharsis theory also says that it is a gateway for the letting out our emotions. If you are tired and fatigued and all, a good play, a good active or good exercise involvement gets us a what relief from this. It functions as a catharsis to us. It gives us a relaxation as well, replenishes our energy as well. Then pre-exercise theory that suggests that play engagement is what? It is a survival activity for future. We learn, we acquire skills, because it is being derived from this seeing the animal life, that young puppies of the different animals, they always keep engaged in the play activity, and they imitate hunting skills, attacking skills, or defensive skills, running away, escaping, all those things. So it is that what ultimately one animal will do on his later life for survival. It is being interpreted in terms of that. But all this play theory, whether it is a classical play theory or recapitulation theory or ego expanding theory, psychoanalytic theory, cognitive theory, all this suggest that ultimately it is our natural requirement for the response to growth, skill for survival, ensuring energy expenditure, and ensuring a safety valve as for pent-up emotions and all those things this suggests. So ultimately, that's why play engagement in the active life or play involvement also comes naturally among the children, and naturally as among us as well. Now, all this evidence suggests that we are meant to be active by evolution or by psychological structure or theory, whatever this case suggests. Now, active engagement ensures our health, provide us knowledge for future, provide us skills, all those things. This is from the evolutionary point of view. But from physical education point of view, what as a health intervention, if we say that implementing physical education curricula, sports curricula in the institute, in the schools, it will serve as a intervention strategy for the health. If you look from that point of view, we of course we say much more than that. We say beyond health, we say that holistic development. We include the holistic dimension of the whole, the personality. We say the social qualities, the mental aspect, and the moral aspect of the ethical aspect of the life also can be developed through the media of sports and physical education participation. Now, as I have told earlier, that there is a tendency among all us as an entire human being that we take it granted, health as a granted. And ultimately what it happens, only when we fell sick, then only that realization comes that health is a very utmost and the most important and the biggest wealth of us, for us. Now, in this sense, if a child, a decade, up to 12 years, it passes on the schooling life, and what it is his formative years, what he will become in the future, it is a base creation development. So when we see the common people or layman people, we find that awareness about the health is not there. That basic knowledge about the health, the basic how his body functions, anatomical structure, or what way exercise helps in from the preventive aspect of view, immunity development point of view, those knowledges are, we don't find in the new generation, it is there. Because they want to do exercise, there is no basic knowledge about it. Even if we see people now who go for the doctors for consultation and all, ultimately, if exercise was being prescribed for them for betterment, they don't have that basic knowledge to go start about with that exercise. So in this formative year, in this 10 to 12 years in the schooling period, that is, I think, the golden period of time they maybe make aware, educated, and the skill also will be acquired, so that ultimately what benefit they can take out of the physical education curricula, that is being realized. Now, when I say about that, it is a formative year. He learns about movement, exercise, and so it is, I think, it will be very good that all of us know basics about the human anatomy, how our body functions, and how various type of exercise affects our various system of body. What is now cardiorespiratory endurance or cardiorespiratory system functions, what is circulatory functions, and how exercise affects our heart capabilities and heart efficiency, heart structures, all those things. Now, these things as a physical educationist for us, it's a very simple to understand. But this is what our new generation is supposed to know from the very basic. Once they are skilled with, exposed with, if they know about some sports, they know exercise, basic exercise or a high level of exercise, or what they are aware about this, they develop sports as a hobby, or that thing apart, if they learn it as a compulsory part of their educational system, then ultimately it is they are bound to learn. Till today, the syllabus, or I have already said, the status of that physical education program in the schools were not judiciously implemented, because it is an optional subject. So there is no accountability and no compulsory to do it. So that compulsion was not there. So now today we realize it's sports is now everywhere. It's in the forefront. It is not only big industry, big commerce, big business. It provides career. It brings in international understanding, brotherhood, peace, all the part that is in the larger aspect. But within this, when we talk about the citizenship health, we physical education and sports, we don't not talk only about the health. We go beyond that. We said that character development, citizenship development, ideal citizenship development, sports could be the biggest and most effective media. So we have gone to that extent. And when we say that ultimately, if sports or activeness in the or engaging with the exercise, regular exercise, become a part of one's life, it becomes a lifestyle or becomes a habit of one's life, and he has a knowledge about it, how it improves health, how it boosts his immunity, and all this will be a big intervention for our future generations, that ultimately we say that nation will progress. This is one way to progress the nation, that when our people are active, when our population is more active, then the productivity in terms of working capacity in industries, offices, everywhere will be more. When health is, so nation health, per capita health will be raised, the per capita medical expenditure will be reduced, productivity will be more, and ultimately that directly will influence our economy. So we have a very cumulative effect of all this intervention. If we implement physical education compulsorily, judiciously, and with a quality program in the educational institutes, not only this up to a higher secondary schooling system, but till the university level. So that kind of ideal situation we can expect maybe after 5 to 10 years. Now, 2020 educational policy has just come, implementing and formatting and making ideal syllabus for all areas will take some time. So that's why ultimately the realization of this goal also will take some time. But the reference is very clear in the 2020 educational policy about that education will be value-based, value-added, and holistic. And with this reference, sports and physical education has come into the part of the regular curricula. So now the question will be to us, the challenges will be to physical education is that by policy or by act of this educational policy, all state government and educational institute will be bound to implement that compulsory part of the physical education. That comes a challenge. The quality, the content, every day, class hour within the timetable period, a class has to be accorded to every classes, and there has to be manpower to look after all those classes. Then there has to be definite syllabi and evaluation of that. So evaluation, when we talk about the holistic development, which as we call objective of the physical education, is what? Developing a wholesome personality in terms of all social, emotional, spiritual, and mental, everything. When we talk about that, physical performance can be evaluated in the physical terms. If we, the strength improvement, in endurance improvement, flexibility improvement, all those things can be assessed. We have a test and all, many things. But again, when we talk about this holistic development, then we will required to assess his moral development as well as social development and other personality qualities development. Of course, we do have a test for all this. Sociometrics and psychometric tests are available. Only thing is that the traditional way of implementing physical education program will change now, and a lot of infrastructure support, a lot of manpower support, curriculum framework, and literatures and manuals also will be required. So these things are our coming challenges that if we want to make perfectly, because as a physical education fraternity, I feel that one of the most long pending demand of our fraternity has been approved, finally done. Now it's the implementing is a now very, very challenging implementation will come. Here now we need to prove our mentals, and many very good works have already been done in these cases. Under the NCRT, pilot projects have already been in place since very long time. I think it won't take much to come out the main reference framework for this levy to implement, depending on the state how you follow, or maybe new policy. The earlier hiccup was there that education being in the part of the concurrent list in the union and state list as well. States were more of the independent to follow their own. So that would, I think, be a bit uniformized by the now this 2020 education policy, because funds allocation and other things will be related with that. So we could see that now a kind of uniformity comes in implementation of the education policy, and only we can aspire and hope for the best that an ideal education policy has been enacted, and that value-based and subjects, those are relevant, and which ensures that a holistic development. Again, I am repeating the holistic development. So those will be there. And it's a good time for us, as I have repeated again, that once this is there, once the new generation going through this curricula at the end of the schooling period, they are equipped with the enough knowledge from the physical education programs about health, about how their body functions, how different system works, what kind of exercise affects what system of our body. Then there are various types of bodily movement, joints around our body, what kind of joints are there, what movements are possible there, what muscles are responsible, and what is muscle hypertrophy, what is the bradycardia, like the misnomer conception about the about heartbeat as well, it is there. Then our pulse rate, normally we all understand that 72 is a heartbeat or the heart rate of the normal pulse rate of the normal person. But for athletics, for a long distance runner, or for a good fit person, that pulse rate comes down to even a normal level. There are record, it has come down to up to 36 level. But if you go to the layman, they will say that you are suffering from some disease and all, because they don't have the idea about about this fitness and the related physiological parameters, how it functions. So the more you are fit, more your pulse rate comes down, your heartbeat comes down, because your heart become more efficient and it pumps more blood, because we said you develop an athletic heart, and bradycardia, we say that the rest for the heart is being, heart becomes more efficient. So this kind of concept, there are many, just I am giving a hint only. Thus, these kinds of health related or fitness related knowledge, one will be acquiring by 12th class, by secondary class. And when he goes his next phase of life, he is well equipped with the exercise requirement, his active life requirement, and about diet, health, and how he can maintain his fitness and all. He is well equipped. Now he is no more dependent on that. And along with that, what we call the holistic development, that other his qualities, like in sporting situation, we always say that the social aspect development or leadership quality development, all those things, we said that even through games that can be ensured. Sports, as I told you, that exercise or physical movement or physical exercise are not on a, it doesn't happen on blindness, because we perform voluntary movements. We control from our central nervous system, our efferent nerve and afferent nerve. They works in tandem. That's why these things happen. It is our voluntary control. So whatever we exercise do, very simple or complex, or very skillful or very complex skill, or we perform, everywhere our decision making process gets involved. In a game situation, in a demanding and critical situation, we need to constantly decide to, suppose that you take a football match, you to what to pass, which pass to involve, whether to kick, whether to dribble, whether to tackle. All those things are game situation, are constantly decision making process. And there are all our organized sports, recognized sports, are being played in the platform of a institutionalized rules and regulation. If you commit a foul, you are being penalized. If you are getting penalty, you lose sometime because of your that penalization. A penalty corner is or penalty kick is awarded in football against you, you lose in that. So there are that you perform a specific kind of play behavior, and that is also within a rule, that you need to always respect the rule. And that's why we call all good qualities, sportsman spirits, positive attitude, never give up, be resilient and persistent. This kind of qualities only what it is emphasized always in the sports, either it is a regular recreational practice or competitive sports. These things are emphasized, and these qualities bound to develop. This initiative, decision making, and group dynamics, the team where the team sports, that every team members is important, that a child understand when he is exposed to a team event, a football kind of game, basketball, or any team games, where if one defender or one scorer doesn't come, or he is not play well, or he is injured, he cannot play, his team loses. So that's why they understand, okay, everyone has a role to play in a society or in a group. What is that? The quality developed in the physical education or in the playground through physical activity programs or sports programs need to imbibe in character and in transfer to his life. That relevance we need to have to brought in. So ultimately, I find that it is appropriately to say that physical education program and sports program that have been made compulsory in the 2020 educational policy is in this context, it's a very good health intervention strategy we have been put into place. Now it is only that matter of time that we need to be realized, and we all fraternity from the physical education needs to come together and work with the government to provide an ideal solution to perfectly implement this this program, this 2020 new education policy. With this, I conclude. I again thank organizer and Vice Chancellor Professor Saket Kushwaji and entire his team, the Department of Physical Education and Sports of the Rajiv Gandhi University, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you one and all. Hello. Okay, Vivek.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if you have any queries or question regarding presentation of sir, The presentation was on relevance of physical education in new education policy. So dear participants, if you have any queries or questions or doubts regarding the presentation, or please feel free to ask. We have 10 minutes for the question and answer sessions. Okay. I think it was a concise and in-depth presentation by our resource person of this session that make all the doubts clear and don't left any doubt in the mind of our participants. That's why we are not getting any questions from our participant sides.
कितने 22,000
As
क्या देख रहा हूँ
yes,
इस पे 22,000 रुपए 22
please
से कह दिया
I request from participants, please keep your camera on off mode. I request from participants, please keep your camera on off mode. Thank you. It was the presentation by Professor Biswajit Basumatari, Dean LNIPENERC Guwahati. He was delivering his lecture on relevance of physical education and sports in new education policy. Sir, enlighten us about the importance of physical education in our daily life for better health. Sir also enlightened us how the scenario of physical education and how the professionalism in physical education is getting rid now. So with these words, may I now request Dr. Tadang Minu to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Vivek sir. It is my privilege and honor to propose vote of thanks first session of 5-day FDP on the theme of health intervention for fit and prosperous India. I, on behalf of Rajiv Gandhi University and Department of Physical Education and my personal behalf, I extend my sincere gratitude and thankfulness to keynote speaker, to Professor Biswajit Basumatari, the Dean LNIPENERC Guwahati, for delivering keynote address where through your extensive delusion on the top relevance of physical education and sports in new education policy. Thank you, sir. We are always blessed. Your blessing is RU and Department of Physical Education for your effort. Efforts. Next, I would also like to extend my sincere thank you to the Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University, the guiding star RU. Thank you, sir. I also like to extend thank you to our Professor Amitabh Mitra, the Pro Vice Chancellor of Rajiv Gandhi University. Sir, and also thank you to Professor Tariba, Registrar Rajiv Gandhi University, who is always blessed and guide us to this Department of Physical Education. The beginning of the department. I also like to thank my sincere thank you to our HO Dr. Anil Mili, who is the very hard work, who is the always motivated to us, and is the backbone of our department. Thank you, sir. And also thank you to the sir, who is the coordinator of 5-day FDP. To my colleague, Dr. Sabhu Prasad, Dr. Rajit, and our department staff. Last but not the least, all the participants who came today for the first day of session. And also I just say sorry for today's technical issue which started in the starting session. But with this, we learned this. So I hope stay tuned. This so coming of another 4 days will be here, and all the participants will access FDP program. Thank you once again. Sir, over to you, Vivek.
Thank you. Now we can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
इवनिंग सेशन कौन है? काफरी सर आएंगे?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
इवनिंग सेशन कौन आएगा? काफरी सर।
जी
Yes,
सर,
sir.
काफरी सर।
कितने बजे से?
सर 1:15 से।
अभी नहीं है, ज्वाइन किया ना?
नहीं सर, he has not joined it. We will call him to join the session, sir.
चलो, all the best for the rest of the session. ठीक है?
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, sir.
कैसा रहा सेशन?
Sorry, sir. Thank you so much.
I request from participants, please join us 5 minutes before scheduled time. Our second technical session will start at 1:15 sharp, and the session will be taken by Professor Bhuvanchand Kapri, and he will deliver his lecture on fitness management for all. So dear participants, show your interest because this program is prepared for sake of health of our society and for the sake of our teaching fraternity. If you have any questions or queries, please feel free to ask from our resource person. So I am with these words, I'm repeating again, please join us at 1:10 sharp because our second resource person, Professor B.C. Kapri, will deliver his lecture on fitness management for all. Thank you all.